Welcome back to Stark Lane. Today it is just you and me. I am Ryan Scott, your host and the guy who founded this executive search firm about 18 years ago. We've literally placed thousands of people all over the country and elsewhere in the world, the people who make quality healthcare possible. And personally, I've placed somewhere between 1,200 and 1,500 leaders with more than 350 companies on 3 continents. So needless to say, I've seen career transitions go well, and I've seen them go very poorly. Today, we're going to talk about 7 things you can do to maximize your potential for success in your career transition. Whether you're pursuing a board role, you're looking at a career jump with your current employer, or maybe changing employers altogether. 7 things you can do in sequential order to maximize your potential for success. Let's get to it.
You are now listening to the Stark Lane podcast.
Here's the deal. Everyone wants to reap the benefits of hard work, but not everyone is willing to do the hard work that creates those benefits, if that makes sense. So today, this is not fluff. I'm not giving you any fluff or garbage. We don't have time for that. Step 1, and the most important, the thing that everyone is going to want to skip, is putting yourself in the right headspace to make a successful career change, to see the opportunities. Because if you're not in the right mindset, if you're not in a growth mindset, you're not going to see the opportunities when they are presented to you. You won't interview as well as you possibly could. You're not going to have the human connection that you could if you were in a growth mindset. So how do I trick myself into going into a growth mindset? 2 things. 1, learning. 2, physical activity. I put myself in a place where I disrupt physical day to day and I get a lot more exercise that changes the chemistry in your body. It will be much more conducive to getting to that state of a growth mindset. And in terms of learning, just pick up a book, pick up a nonfiction book, not something that's in your day to day where you're learning more about your day to day, but something that interests you. A biography on someone you know and respect and admire that'll give you sort of introspective perspective on yourself and things you can do to pursue that ideal self that you want to be. That is foundational. I can't stress how important it is to not skip step 1. Step 2, you're going to update your resume. I know that's like this big, but all we're going to do is modernize, and you're not going to fall into any of the hype or the trends about a short resume, especially if you have been in your executive career for 30 years and you've done huge things for 5 or 6 different companies. You're not going to get that down to 1 page. Don't try. Don't fall into the hype. Your resume is a reflection of who you are and what you have done and what you bring to an organization. It is also a sales tool. The entire purpose of that resume is to start a conversation with a desired audience. Remember that. Don't fall into the hype. So when I'm talking about modernizing, 1, remove your full address. We don't need to know your street address. Get that off your resume because there are plenty of freaks out there. And the first thing they're going to do is Google Street View where you live and see which cars are in the driveway. Don't let anybody do that. Do, however, keep your city and state location so hiring managers and anyone that sees that, they see where you live because it's kind of a big deal. And if I pick up a resume and it has a phone number and a name and no address, odds are that person's probably in Kentucky or New York or Northern California and they want this job in Houston. They're going to try to do a sales job on me and try to talk me into letting them do it remotely. Well, newsflash, I have hiring criteria, but I'm not your hiring manager and you're just wasting everyone's time. The first thing any employer is going to do when they see your resume, they're going to look you up on LinkedIn. Work with it, not against it, people. So go ahead and put your LinkedIn profile in that heading as one of your, along with your contact information because it's important. Next item on your resume. I want you to add a compelling summary of each employer. What is that employer? What do they do? Size, scope, location. Make it whether you hate that company or you love that company, just give them 2 lines of the best description you can possibly imagine because this resume is a reflection of you and who you are and where you've been. So you want to put your best foot forward. And not only that, people don't know your company. A lot of people assume that everyone knows who their employer is. The fact is, no, even in the same industry, a lot of times people do not know who your organization is. And if they do, it'd be really helpful if they knew how big they are and what they do. Also, remember, your resume is not a job description. You can have one bullet under each employment entry that gives a good idea the size and the scope of your responsibility. But beyond that, just performance bullets. No fluff, no chat GPT. If you're doing a chat GPT resume, it's going to get thrown in the garbage. I promise you. So one bullet describing size and scope of your responsibility. The next bullets all related to performance, quantifiable performance metrics. Okay, and down at the very, very bottom of your resume, we are no longer going to put references in place, and you never want to put references on your resume for a few reasons. One, if you have people who have a great, respectable background and you're giving someone like me their information, what they do, and how to contact them, and they're better at the job that you're applying for than you, they're probably going to have a good shot before you even get an interview. It's a trust me. No references on your resume. We are not doing that anymore. Instead, one thing you can do that will be a differentiator is hyperlink to your great recommendations from LinkedIn. So, references, see recommendations on LinkedIn or view my recommendations on LinkedIn, hyperlink here. Send people to your profile to see what other people are saying about you. That is a great way to handle that piece and to let other people promote you. At this point, your resume is updated. It is ready to go. Don't spend a fortune on a professional resume service. Do it yourself. Make sure it reads professionally. It tells a story. It's a reflection of who you are. Now we're going to go back to that whole LinkedIn thing, right? We're going to fix all of your social media. You're going to update your LinkedIn to match your resume exactly. Don't fudge dates, don't fudge titles, and don't omit things that probably shouldn't be omitted. Because then you start telling people different stories and you have to remember what you told someone. And before you know it, you've got a reputation as a weirdo. And we don't want that. So update your LinkedIn. Your LinkedIn chronologically should match your resume exactly. And go ahead and put a description of each employer on LinkedIn too. It's not going to hurt you. All of your old profiles online, social profiles, maybe you have a MySpace or an old Facebook that you don't have the password for anymore, or you have another old LinkedIn you did for another job because you needed one at the time and it's still out there with a really bad profile photo. All of that needs to go away. That is the first thing someone will see within 30 seconds of opening your resume and they Google you on monitor number 2 or monitor number 3 while they're looking at your resume on monitor number 1. You don't want that stuff coming up. You want to control the narrative. You want to control your image, your personal brand. So those old profiles, they have to go away. And fix your social media. Doesn't matter if it's private. Even if your accounts, your Facebook and your Instagram and your whatever are set to private, if there's anything on there that shouldn't be there, make it go away before you get into acting on your career transition. Number 4, we are going to deep dive into you. You need to know why you're doing this. Why are you doing what you do? Why are you about to go through a career transition, whatever that case may be? Because when you get into the process, it can be very stressful. There's waiting, there's uncertainty, there are potential confidentiality breaches, and you need, when you're dealing with the complications and the stress that accompany a career transition, you need to have your why in your back pocket. You need to be able to pull it out and say, okay, this is why I'm doing it. I'm good. You need to have it ready to go. It's just like running an ultra marathon. In mile number 40, 50, 60, at some point, I know I'm going to ask myself, why in the hell am I doing this? And you need to, without hesitation, be able to pull that out and fully understand why. That's a big piece of it. Also, under our deep dive, we need to start building your personal brand. If you haven't spent a lot of time talking about your personal brand and who you are and what you uniquely bring to an employer, to a job, to the world, take some time and seriously reflect on this piece. You are not your business card. Your business card is there because of some magic, something in you that brought you to this point in time. I know when I'm thinking about the unique things that I bring to an organization, to my company, to my relationships, I have to go back to before I had my undergrad and my graduate degree and my certifications, and I founded my company and I was tremendously successful. Before the money, what was there? What is it that drove you? What motivated you? What did you want to be? And what skills did you leverage to put you in position where you are today? That is the only way to really figure out the genesis and the foundation of your personal brand and what you bring to an employer and a company. Then you're going to synthesize all that information into a 30-second elevator pitch. Have it ready to go so you can bring that out in meetings when you're meeting new people, which inevitably you will. At this point, we have put ourselves in a growth mindset. We have updated our resume. We have fixed all social media. We've done a deep dive into ourselves, which again, that is not fluff. Don't skip that part. It is absolutely mission critical if you're going to do anything big at all. And now, number 5, you are going to talk to people. This involves reconnecting with all of your prospective reference contacts. You're not asking them to be a reference at this point. You just need to talk to them. You need to practice talking to them, find out what's going on in their lives, and give something before you ask something later. If you need, let's say, 4 or 5 references, I recommend talking to 10 people. Find out what they're doing professionally, what's going on in their companies, and then maybe plant seeds that you're possibly looking to do something bigger, something more exciting. Maybe you're open to a board role, whatever the case may be, just plant that seed and have a pleasant conversation. Then we're going to go back and we're going to repair all of your old strained relationships. And that career misstep you took about 5 years ago and you kind of like stepped on these toes over here. Yeah, you need to start repairing those relationships. Call those individuals, have a conversation, and try to make nice. Ensure that you have a good functional relationship because you never know what the future might bring. Why talking to people? Why is step 5 so important? When I'm presenting CEOs or high profile executives to a company, the situation is going to blow up in 2 places. Number 1, when you present someone, and even though your hiring managers and your boards know that you cannot be calling and asking around about prospective candidates before they sign a reference release, inevitably, sometimes they do. And you would not believe how well connected every board is in their industry. That's why you have the board, is because they are extremely well connected. They know a lot of people, and that can be good or bad. Or hiring managers, they start calling people that this person might have worked with. Hey, do you know so and so? Yeah, I saw this LinkedIn profile and I was thinking about, asking them if they were interested in my position. Well, when this happens and those people start doing that at the beginning, or when a reference release is signed and you start conducting references, if you have a candidate who is worth their salt at all, and you have a candidate's close personal contacts from previous employment who are going to speak to a prospective employer on behalf of this person, if that person is great, a lot of times that person that's worked with this person is going to want them in their company. I didn't know you were looking for a job, so why don't you come join me over here? Or if you have a board member that's asking people in these other companies who might know this individual if they work for them, odds are the people in those companies may have a need or an opening as well. That is where I lose a lot of high performers because very swiftly, those other people will swoop in and present significant opportunity to the people who are interviewing for said position. And that is why, number five, you're going to talk to people because you're going to initiate that process before your resume is presented to a hiring manager and before you get to the reference process because it is highly possible you will not need step number six or step number seven. This is as far as you're going to make it before something great is presented to you. All you're doing is short circuiting the system and cutting in the line. So if you don't make magic happen at step number five, talking to people, we're going to move on to number six, which is planning your approach to this transition. Who are you going to approach? What companies? What individuals in those companies are you going to approach? And how are you going to do this? Because updating a resume and sending it in through Indeed, through a job advertisement, is not how you're going to get anything worthwhile. I promise you. So plan your work and work your plan. Working your plan is number seven, and that is execution. When you're executing your plan, it's very, very important to think about all the things that could go well, but also all the things that could go wrong and be prepared for them, including breaches in confidentiality. How do you handle that situation? Recapping, we talked about 7 things you can do in sequential order. Number 1, put yourself in a growth mindset. Number 2, update that resume. Number 3, fix your social media. Number 4, deep dive into yourself. Make that investment. It'll be worth every second. Number 5, talk to people. Number 6, plan your approach. And number 7, execute your plan. Today, I know, very quick, right to the point. I wanted you to have something actionable and useful that you can employ if you are considering a career jump. We'll do more of these one-on-one. I'll try to get more of these out, situations that are directly relevant to anyone's career, especially if you're growing your career or building your team. Thanks for joining us today. I need to get back to work, and I hope to see you again next week.
This has been the Stark Lane podcast. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, and wherever you find the programs to elevate your career and your passions. Now, get back to work.